I will say I enjoy listening to the morning show, Hot 97.
Now?
I listen to it daily. I enjoy it.
Did you do that before? Or
I did it before too.
Okay.
Because again, I got the kids in the car, so I just cut the radio on. It sounds differently with Mero with them up there.
Trying to get you a new job, right?
Yeah.
The niggas is playing up here. Let's go freeze. I know that trick.
Watching the Joe Budden Podcast today, you gotta understand, this moment right here isn't where things started, it's just where everything is finally showing up loud and clear. Because what went down between Queenzflip and Freeze today, even though it seemed like a small interaction, didn't just come out of nowhere. So in episode 912, Heaven Sent, there's a moment between Queenzflip and Freeze that might look minor on the surface, but if you really know the dynamic, you know it hits different. And I'm talking not just the joke didn't land different, I'm talking more like, we're not entertaining this energy anymore type of different. Not today, not anymore. Now, usually, it's all jokes, slick comments, and that classic pod banter we've come to expect. But with Freeze and Queenzflip, you can feel a shift that's hard to explain, yet impossible to ignore. So fast forward to today, they're discussing the morning show on Hot 97, just a regular conversation going through the board and topics, and then Freeze casually mentions he listens in the morning with his kids in the car. And that's exactly when things start to unfold.
Freeze, let me see where I fit on here. Mero, what up? You know how you DM
Now in this moment, you'd expect them to just roll straight into the topic, but instead, Queenzflip starts cracking jokes. Joe jumps in with his reactions, making faces and giving those quick comments we've already seen before, but Freeze is not entertaining any of it, not even a little.
You always put me in.
Freeze, what we doing, boy?
I don't play none of y'all.
Oh, now you don't play? Oh, all right, my fault.
That's y'all business.
And the difference here is that usually, even when a joke doesn't land perfectly, you still try to laugh it off and keep the energy moving. At least, that's what it looks like they normally do. And Freeze usually plays his part too, keeping the rhythm flowing and not letting the moment go completely cold. But today, Freeze didn't do that at all. He just stopped, locked in on Queenzflip with those sunglasses on, and in the room, you've got Joe, Flip, Mark up on the perch again, with Freeze and Parks holding down the rest. And in that moment, it felt like Freeze was done playing along completely. The jokes from Queenzflip just didn't hit. They kind of fell flat. And listen, there was a few seconds of straight up silence, and you could feel it. That's why I don't think this is just about this one moment, because Freeze already told us how he feels on the JBP Rewind. If I'm not mistaken, episode 3, he actually addressed it.
I've been very adamant from the beginning that I don't play content over everything game. I went specifically, Flip does to me, or the way I perceive it, as it's like a throw the rock, hide your hand type of thing. And it happens a lot. So the reason why this happened was because I spoke to him about it. And these particular type of jokes specifically from him was, I can't make them back. There's been jokes made back about Flip's family or about things that Flip may or may not have done or whatever that we had to stop recording.
And that right there is the key. He was completely serious in that moment. But listen, I don't think that frustration came from just one joke. You can hear him mention that they've had to cut things, that there is behind the scenes stuff happening that the audience never gets to see. Freeze is clearly pointing out a pattern, and that pattern is now bleeding into this moment we just witnessed. Or maybe he's trying to keep that same energy and just play it off. But even then, you could feel something was off. And then Joe steps in, trying to lighten it up with the joke, basically saying, how am I getting lumped in with Flip? I didn't even say anything.
Y'all do that.
See how I get it's easy.
That's your man, so you riding with.
And then he even flips it back on him, pointing out those same facial reactions and gestures, like this is what I was talking about. You can feel that underlying tension creeping in right there, because now it's not just words, it's the energy in the room being called out. And that moment just reinforces that this isn't some random exchange, it's something deeper that's been building up and finally showing itself in real time.
Yeah,
I ain't even say nothing.
Yeah, you speak with your face, light-eyed mother.
I get looped in with Yeah.
Yes. All right, the same way you ain't want to be looped in with.
And he goes on to say that Ish was with Freeze. And yeah, thankfully it didn't escalate into anything major, but you could definitely feel how uncomfortable that moment was to watch. And in that exchange, it really feels like there's something deeper brewing between Flip and Freeze that somebody isn't fully being transparent about. But hold up, it doesn't even feel like it's just a Flip and Freeze issue anymore, because now it's starting to look like it's about who's aligned with who in the room. And even though it may have come across as jokes, you already know there's always a layer of truth hiding inside the humor. Then Freeze drops a line that really matters.
This is your creation. You know that, right? That whole North Couch narrative, that's you.
You did create that, Joe.
You created it, and then you attach us in every. We don't think the same. We're two different people.
Okay, now we're not just talking about jokes anymore, because his tone shifts into something more serious, and it sounds like he's getting tired of being labeled and lumped in. He wants to stand on his own, carve out his own identity, and all of that comes through in how he's speaking. On that North Couch with Freeze, being grouped like that, he's clearly making a statement that they don't think alike and they don't move the same. Freeze is basically saying, don't put me in that same box, I'm my own person. And that's fair, but hold up, be careful what you ask for, because when you want someone to have your back, you might end up isolated if things go wrong. And just when you think that's where it ends, he takes it a step further and starts taking shots at Joe. Now remember, in that previous video I dropped, Juvenile was actually having a conversation with Joe about marriage, right?
I'm down with all of you. We all friends. I'm down with all. Am I down with you?
But in the specific, no. In the specific.
So keep that in mind next time somebody mention marriage, proposal, rings, anything like that, because you love to throw me in with you.
And this time, I gotta say, Mark was either knocked out in the background or just sitting there watching with a bucket of popcorn because he wasn't saying a word. So now you've got all these little pieces connecting, from Queenzflip making a joke about what seemed like a neutral topic to Freeze not even being willing to entertain it. And listen, that joke didn't even involve his family or anything personal, but Freeze clearly didn't like it and wasn't trying to engage at all. It almost feels like there's an unspoken boundary now where Queenzflip can't even joke with Freeze in this moment, and Freeze isn't interested in playing it off at all. So whatever narratives are out there about each of them, one thing that stands out from this is that Freeze does not want to be lumped in with anybody. He doesn't seem interested in the jokes, the back and forth, or being grouped, and that's just how it comes across to me. And you can even see him taking that stance further by throwing subtle shots at Joe, basically emphasizing, I'm my own person. Now, I don't know what's really going on behind the scenes, but let's be real, Joe thrives in that space of jokes and tension. That's the nature of the pod game. He actually enjoys when the room gets a little spicy, even when he's not directly involved or instigating anything. But Freeze didn't interpret it that way, because he still managed to take a shot at Joe in the middle of everything. And now I want to ask y'all, do you think Queenzflip was just doing what he usually does, trying to spark a joke for the moment, without any deeper intent to go viral? Or do you think, after what Freeze said on the JBP Rewind and the tension we've seen before, he's just completely done entertaining Queenzflip altogether and refusing to play along anymore?
Because I can honestly see both sides of it. Queenzflip can definitely be a bit much at times, especially when we don't fully know what's happening behind the scenes. And Joe is going to let things ride for the sake of the pod, while Ish, like I always say, is usually over there just making his faces and observing. This time though, he was just chilling and staying out of it. But with Freeze, it feels like he's on a different path. Maybe he's getting tired of being the punchline or being pulled into narratives, especially when it comes to Queenzflip. And like he's saying, he doesn't want to be grouped in with anybody because he sees himself as his own person. At this point, it almost feels like Freeze doesn't want anybody saying anything to him at all. And it's not even just about setting boundaries anymore. It feels more like, we can't joke with you, we can't play with you. And if that's the case, then why are you even up there with sunglasses on if nothing can be said? Now, keep in mind, a few pods ago, Joe actually joked and said, what does Freeze even do? I believe Manny was on that episode too, and they were going back and forth, joking around. But since Joe said it, that phrase seems to have stuck with Freeze ever since.
If a walk up to you and say, yo, write me a tweet or build me a house or something,
Write me
or
a
whatever
tweet.
the fuck those niggas do. Do it. Like, stop. That's my talent.
He said, "Write me a tweet."
That's my goddamn talent.
Tweet that.
Yo,
I built niggas' houses before.
Yo, what? Yo, no, Amani Razor. What is your talent?
Oh shit!
So when it comes to this moment, I'm not entirely sure if that past situation is what's still influencing things here. But when it comes to Queenzflip, do you think Freeze is carrying that earlier conflict with him and, in a way, killing the vibe while sticking to that narrative just so he doesn't come off as unreasonable? Or do you think Freeze actually has a valid point because Queenzflip already crossed a line before and this is just a reaction to that? Drop your thoughts down below and let me know where you stand on this. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe so you can keep rocking with me. Let's really get into it in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on your favorite social platforms.